Hello all, today we are discussing the third part of our plant Pinus. So we have already discussed about the male gametophyte, the female gametophyte, and also the structure of ovule. So coming to the sexual reproduction of the Pinus, we know that the Pinus produce male gametophyte, which is called the male strobilus, which produces the male cone from which the pollen grains are produced, and the pollen grain constitute the sperm, and the female gametophyte or the female strobilus, it bears the ovule or the archegonia, which bears the egg. Both these fuse together to form the zygote, which grows into the embryo and then to the Pinus plant. So the male gametophyte, as we know the male gametophyte is called the microspore or the pollen. It germinates into the male gametophyte. The development of the male gametophyte starts inside the microsporangia or the pollen sac and ends on the surface of the nucellus. The pollen first divides to form a small prothallel cell. Okay, this division is actually not needed for you to study. Just understand that the pollen grain, it divides into prothallel cell, large cell, and then like this divisions occur, and when this pollen reaches the 3-cell stage, here it is written wrongly, 4-celled condition. No, when the pollen reaches 3-celled condition, the pollen grains are released from the microsporangium or the male cone, and it is transferred to the ovule by wind, by pollination. Okay, so wind pollination, the gymnosperms follow anemophilic pollination or wind pollination. At the time of pollination, the nucellus secretes a mucilage called the pollination drop and receives and brings the pollen into the pollen chamber. Okay, at what cell stage the pollen grains are released? At the 3-cell stage, and further development of pollen, that is after it is released, the pollen's further development takes place inside the nucellus by the formation of the pollen tube. The pollen tube penetrates into the nucellus tissue. It grows towards the archegonium by the direction of the tube cell. Okay, at the same time, the generative cell, it divides into body cell and stalk cell. All this division is not needed, but you have to understand that from the generative cell, from the body cell, two unequal male gametes or sperms are formed. These sperms are haploid, they are short-lived, and they are non-motile. Okay, so after the formation of the male gamete or the sperm, let's see what happens to the female gametophyte. The megaspore germinates into the female gametophyte. The development of the female gametophyte takes place inside the nucellus of the megasporangium or the ovule. The megaspore, it divides by mitotic division and forms numerous cells, about 2000 cells it forms. The mature female gametophyte produces 3 to 5 female sex organs called archegonia towards the micropylar end. Okay, so this is what happens inside the female gametophyte. Here the megaspore, it germinates into the female gametophyte. Everything happens inside the ovule. Okay, and by division it forms the female gametophyte, which is present near the micropylar region. So here we can see the structure of the ovule. We've already learned that it has 3 integuments. The pink colored region is the nucellus region, and the blue colored region in the center is the female gametophyte. You can see the egg is marked out there. The archegonium, it is formed towards the micropylar region. The opening is the micropyle. So towards the micropylar region, the archegonium is formed. The archegonium is the female sex organ, and they are embedded in the female gametophyte towards the micropylar end. Each archegonium is flask-shaped structure. It consists of it is a flask-shaped structure. Just understand that it has venter cells and the egg cell. The egg cell is haploid and it is non-motile. Okay, that much you just learn. everything is not needed. So just understand where the female gametophyte is present and what does it contain. It contains the egg, which is haploid and non-motile female gamete. Now what happens, as I told you, the at the 3-cell stage the pollen grains are transferred from the male gametophyte or the male cone to the female cone through wind pollination, isn't it? So when the pollen grains are released, the pollen grains are yellow colored, and when these pollen grains are released into the air, it looks like sulfur. It looks like yellow colored rain. Okay, and the whole tree will be covered in yellow colored dust, and this is called sulfur shower or sulfur rain. Okay, so there will be a question in your exam: what is sulfur shower or sulfur rain? Now, after the female cones, they reach the female cone. What happens? The mature ovule, it secretes a mucilage called the pollination drop, and through the pollination drop, the pollen grains are absorbed into the nucellar region or the archegonia. Now we needn't have to study the development and all. Once the pollen grains are reaches the nucellar region or the pollen chamber, it takes a period of rest. Then it gives out the pollen tube, which contains 2 gametes, and 1 gamete fuses with the female gametophyte or the egg cell. Okay, now after the egg cell is formed, there will be development of zygote, and from the zygote the embryo is formed. Now when the embryo divides, it forms four layered structure, and this 4 layered structure, each cell or 4-celled structure in each cell will develop into a embryo. This is called polyembryony. So polyembryony is seen in the in Pinus. Okay, so the mature embryo, it consists of 10 to 18 cotyledon, plumule and radicle and hypocotyle, and the female gametophyte, it provides food for the development of the embryo, and the seed coat is formed by the integument of the ovule. Okay, and the germination of this seed is hypogeal, meaning the cotyledons come out of the arise from the soil, and then the germination occurs outside. So that is called hypogeal germination. During the seed germination, the radicle gives the taproot, the plumule gives the shoot of unlimited growth. So this is the life cycle of the Pinus. It has two generations, that is the sporophytic plant body and the gametophyte, which produces the gametes. Okay, so there is clear alternation of generation, and we know that the spores producing sporophytic body and the gametes produce the gametophytic body. They are dependent on each other and they alternate with each other. So that we have to understand that sporophyte and gametophyte, they are dependent on each other. Okay, and there is clear alternation of generation is seen here in the life cycle of Pinus. Okay, now let's see the overall life cycle. We have already seen that the plant body is sporophytic. From the plant body, the male cone and the female cone is born, and the male cone produces microsporophyll, the female cone produces megasporophyll. Microsporangia is found in the male cone, megasporangia or ovules are found in the female cone. They produce the pollen and the megaspores. Both these unite to form the male gametophyte and female gametophyte. They produce the egg and the sperm, which develops into the which fuses to form the zygote, which develops to form the embryo, and from the embryo the seed is developed, and the seed germinates again to form the sporophytic plant body. Okay, hope you all have understood how this life cycle of Pinus is. So please make sure that you understand what you are studying. You needn't have to study all the developmental stages, just the structure of the male or female gametophyte, things like that is just needed. So you needn't have to study the whole thing. Okay, so thank you very much for listening. Now we in the next class we'll be dealing with the NEETM. So if you have any doubt, please make sure to contact me. Thank you.